I actually got on with Francis when I met him. And this was in the very early days of his papacy, at which point I genuinely believed that there was going to be change. I thought that this is the man who's going to do things because I'm there sitting with him, chatting with him, and having little jokes with him, and discovering that he's actually quite a normal person. But then it's like the shutters come down. It's the shutters come down, and all the yes, I'm going to do something. Yes, we can work together and do this. Suddenly, I was shut out of the Vatican because I was getting too much of a voice. I was being given too much airtime. The Times and the New York Times and CNN wanted to interview me about what was going on, and I was willing to speak to them, and I wasn't supposed to speak to them. I was supposed to keep quiet. And again, that's the way these religious organizations work. So there was a tinge of feeling sorry for Francis because I realized that he's surrounded by vipers. But as Richard Syke would have said, and Tom Doyle says regularly, the Pope is an absolute monarch, and there are things that he could do that he has refused to do. And I know that there's been some real advances in some parts of the world with the church, principally, I suspect, in America, because there's been powerful voices in your part of the world. But, you look to other parts of the world, and the church is still dominant and is still infested with people who are abusing children and vulnerable people. It's 2,000 years and counting, and I don't see any prospect for change, which breaks my heart because, as I said, I used to be such a what you'd call devout Catholic.
You're talking about people's discomfort around the concept of death, what happens after we die, the entire inevitability of it all. People want assurances and they want comfort and they want somebody to pat them on the head and tell them that everything is going to be okay. And for 2,000 years, the Catholic Church has been more than happy to lay out a very dogmatic, very, straight and narrow path for how to achieve their version of nirvana. It's really, really interesting when you start digging into that stuff, and it becomes pretty clear that a lot of the accusations being made against these supposed, hostile forces, it's coming from within the organization, and it's coming because there is that unwillingness to admit that there's any type, because these people have so much power, and there's more of us than there are of them. And if people realized and woke up to the fact that this is really what this institution is, and all these institutions in our world, how corrupt they truly are, like I said, it has to come from the grassroots because it's not going to come from the top. And people waiting for someone to come in and save them is going to end in heartbreak for everyone.